Make yourself comfortable, close your eyes, and let yourself be carried away by a story from the Middle Ages. The Gentle Embrace of Dusk, Chapter 1. The gentle embrace of dusk in the quaint fishing village of Eldermere. Twilight fell softly, wrapping the world in a blanket of warmth and tenderness. As the sun sank low on the horizon, casting golden rays across the rippling surface of the harbor, the air filled with the delicate scent of salt and seaweed, mingling with the faint, earthy aroma of the nearby fields. The last flickers of daylight danced upon the water, creating shimmering patterns that seemed to weave magic into the atmosphere, inviting all who beheld it to pause and breathe. Hugo, a gentle soul with tousled hair the color of chestnuts, stepped out onto the weathered wooden dock that jutted into the tranquil waters of the harbor. He had spent the day tending to his small boat, the Sea Wanderer, which bobbed lazily in its berth, its emerald green hull reflecting the colors of the heavens above. The fishermen had begun to return from their day at sea, their boats laden with silver-scaled fish that glinted like jewels in the softening light. Each vessel was a work of art, crafted by calloused hands and sturdy timber, telling stories of adventures and camaraderie woven through years of shared toil. As Hugo stood there, he felt the gentle caress of the evening breeze on his skin, cool yet invigorating, whispering secrets of the ocean to him. The sound of water lapping against the dock created a rhythmic lullaby, soothing to his spirit. He closed his eyes for a moment, allowing himself to absorb the essence of this beloved place, where life ebbed and flowed like the tides. The villagers were returning with their harvest, their laughter ringing like melodious chimes through the air. He could see old Marlon, the village's eldest fisherman, emerging from his weather-beaten skiff, his face weathered yet bright with happiness. Marlon greeted Hugo with a hearty clap on the shoulder, his eyes shining like the stars that would soon appear in the night sky. "Evening, lad. A fine catch today," he proclaimed, gesturing towards the nets brimming with fish, each one a testament to the bounty of the sea. Hugo smiled, his heart swelling with pride for his community. The villagers worked together, their motions choreographed by years of practice. They unloaded their catches with the grace of dancers, sharing tales of the ocean's whims and the elusive shoals that had graced their nets that day. The laughter and chatter melded seamlessly with the gentle sounds of nature, creating a symphony of peace that wrapped around the village like a warm embrace. As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky in hues of amber and rose, the villagers gathered at the center of Eldermere for their evening meal. Long tables were set beneath the sprawling limbs of an ancient oak tree, its gnarled branches draped with lanterns that flickered to life, casting a soft glow over the gathering. The tables groaned under the weight of freshly caught fish, crusty loaves of bread, and vibrant bowls of vegetables harvested from the nearby gardens. The air was thick with the aroma of herbs and spices, mingling with the salty tang of the sea, awakening appetites and igniting conversations. Hugo found his place at the table, flanked by friends and family who greeted him with warm smiles and hearty pats on the back. Each face around him glowed with the satisfaction of a day well spent. They shared stories of the ocean, of daring escapades when storms brewed on the horizon, and the thrill of the chase when schools of fish swirled beneath their boats. Laughter erupted at the recounting of a particularly clumsy misadventure, where young Ali had slipped and tumbled into the shallows, much to the amusement of his fellow fishermen. As they ate, Hugo savored every bite of his meal, the delicious fish grilled to perfection, the crusty bread slathered with rich, creamy butter, and the crisp vegetables bursting with flavor. Each mouthful was a reminder of the earth's generosity, the sea's abundance, and the bonds of friendship that held them all together. The simple act of sharing food transformed into a ritual of connection, nurturing not just bodies, but also souls. With the sun now fully set, the sky transitioned into a deep indigo, speckled with the first twinklings of stars that began to emerge, blinking down like tiny lanterns lighting the path to dreams. The air grew cooler, and the villagers wrapped themselves in cloaks and shawls, but their spirits remained warm and buoyant. Children ran about, their laughter echoing like music carried on the wind, as they chased fireflies that flickered like stars come to life, weaving in and out of shadows. Hugo leaned back in his chair, a contented sigh escaping his lips as he looked around at the faces illuminated by the soft glow of lantern light. The flickering flames danced in the eyes of his companions, casting a golden hue that made the moment feel almost ethereal. It was in these evenings, when worries melted away, that he truly understood the essence of community of shared experiences and laughter, of support and love that transcended words. As the meal drew to a close, the villagers began to share songs, their voices rising in harmony like the waves of the sea. Each note floated through the air, weaving through the branches of the ancient oak, lifting the hearts of everyone present. The melodies spoke of the water-esque beauty, of the freedom found in the vastness of the ocean, and of home the steadfast anchor in the ever-changing tides of life. Hugo closed his eyes again, letting the music wash over him, feeling the rhythm of the village pulse in time with his own heartbeat. The notes wrapped around him like a comforting blanket, soothing his mind and easing the day's cares. He felt grateful to be part of this tapestry of life, where each thread was essential and every voice mattered. As the final song came to an end, the villagers erupted into applause, their laughter echoing through the stillness of the night. One by one, they began to drift away, their spirits high and their hearts full. Hugo lingered a moment longer, taking in the serenity of the scene around him. The water continued to lap gently against the shore, a constant reminder of nature's embrace, while the stars twinkled overhead, timeless and eternal. With a final glance at the harbor, where the boats swayed gently in the moonlight, he turned to make his way home. The path was familiar, winding through the village with the comfort of countless footsteps behind him. The sound of the ocean whispered sweetly in his ears, and he breathed deeply, savoring the salty air that filled his lungs with memories of the day. As he reached his modest cottage, the warm glow of firelight spilled from the windows, welcoming him home. Inside, the scents of cedar and beeswax enveloped him, grounding him in the sanctuary he had created. He felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that the village thrived on unity and love, like the ebb and flow of the tides that would forever shape their lives. Hugo settled into his favorite chair by the hearth, looking out at the shimmering water, now cloaked in shadows. The soft crackle of the fire filled the space around him, a gentle reminder of life's warmth even in the chill of night. With a heart full of gratitude and a mind at ease, he allowed the rhythm of the waves outside to lull him into a serene slumber, dreaming of the gentle embrace of dusk that had cradled his village in its tender arms. Whispers of the Tide. Fishermen's Return Chapter 2. Whispers of the Tide. Fishermen's return as the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a warm golden hue across the tranquil fishing village of Eldenshore. The twilight painted the scene in soft pastels. The sky, a canvas of oranges and purples, intertwined with wisps of cotton candy clouds, gradually surrendered to the encroaching night. The air was thick with the briny scent of the sea, mingling harmoniously with the earthy aromas of damp wood and distant hearth fires. Hugo, a young fisherman with tousled hair and skin kissed by the sun, stood at the edge of the bustling dock, gazing out over the gentle waves that lapped rhythmically against the wooden posts. His heart swelled with contentment as he watched the silhouettes of his fellow fishermen returning home after a long day spent at sea. Each boat bobbed gracefully, their hulls glistening with droplets of seawater that caught the fading light, creating a sparkling dance upon the surface. The sounds of a busy life were all around him. The distant calls of seabirds echoed overhead, their wings silhouetted against the vibrant sky. He could hear the whisper of the wind playing through the rigging of the boats, a soft melody blending seamlessly with the lulling sounds of the tide. Hugo closed his eyes for a moment, letting the familiar symphony of the sea wash over him, each note a reminder of the peaceful rhythm of life in Eldenshore. As the first boat, a stout vessel named the Sea Whisper, approached the dock, Hugo's heart raced with anticipation. The fishermen aboard were friends, their laughter echoing across the water like music notes in the twilight air. With practiced ease, they maneuvered the boat alongside the weathered wooden planks, expertly tying it off with frayed ropes that had seen countless tides. "Look at the size of that catch," called out Barnaby, a burly man with a thick beard and a broad smile that illuminated his weathered face. He hoisted a large net over the side of the boat, revealing glimmering fish that flopped energetically beneath the fading light. Silvery scales reflected hues of pink and blue, like precious jewels caught in the net's intricate weave. "Looks like we'll have enough for the feast tonight," chimed in Alara, a lively woman with bright eyes and a quick laugh. She stepped onto the dock with grace, her arms outstretched as if to embrace the world. "Let us hurry. The lanterns will be lit soon, and we must have everything ready." The other fishermen joined in the chorus of excitement, their voices melding together, harmonizing effortlessly against the backdrop of the evening tide. They unloaded their catches, the air filled with the rich scent of salt and fish, mingling with the sweet fragrance of wildflowers that grew in clusters along the shore. The sound of scales slapping against wooden surfaces was punctuated by the soft thuds of fish being placed into wicker baskets, each one carefully separated and handled with reverence. Hugo moved to help, his hands deftly sorting through the glistening bounty. The coolness of the fish felt refreshing against his warm palms, grounding him in the present moment. He smiled at the camaraderie of his companions. Their laughter was infectious, lifting the spirits of everyone around them like the gentle breeze that swirled through the air. As the last boat pulled in, the sun dipped below the horizon, leaving a trail of twilight in its wake. Lanterns began to flicker to life along the dock, their soft glow illuminating the faces of the villagers who had gathered to welcome the fishermen home. The warm light danced like fireflies, casting playful shadows that twirled on the ground, creating an intimate atmosphere filled with warmth and community. The villagers set about preparing for the evening meal, their movements a graceful ballet of cooperation. Tables were adorned with freshly gathered herbs and wild garlic, their pungent fragrances mingling delightfully with the salty air. The sound of laughter and chatter filled the space, weaving through the air like the delicate strands of a spider's web, binding everyone together in a tapestry of friendship and shared experiences. Once the fish were cleaned and prepared, the villagers gathered around a large communal table set up near the water's edge. The table was a simple affair, made of rough-hewn planks that bore the marks of many gatherings before. But tonight, it was transformed into a banquet of sorts, adorned with bowls of vibrant vegetables and crusty loaves of bread, their golden crusts giving off a warm, inviting aroma. Hugo took his place among his friends, feeling a sense of belonging wash over him. As they began to serve the food, the ambience shifted into something sacred, an appreciation for the day's labor and the bounty of the sea. The villagers bowed their heads in unison as old man Tobias, the village elder, offered a blessing, his voice low and melodic, rich with gratitude for the ocean's gifts. After the blessing, the laughter returned, filling the air like music. Stories flowed as freely as the mead, each tale a thread connecting generations, weaving together the fabric of their lives. Hugo listened intently, savoring the warmth of the moment the way the lanterns flickered, casting a golden glow across the faces of his neighbors, each line and crease telling stories of joy, hardship, and resilience. The meal unfolded slowly, each bite a celebration of the day's work. The grilled fish was succulent, infused with herbs and a hint of lemon, while the bread was warm and soft, perfect for soaking up the juices from the plates. Hugo relished the flavors, allowing himself to be fully present, the taste of salt and earth mingling on his tongue, a reminder of the connection between land and sea. As the stars began to twinkle in the vast expanse above, the conversation softened, drifting into quieter tones. The rhythmic sound of the waves became more pronounced, a lullaby that beckoned relaxation. Some villagers leaned back in their chairs, gazing up at the night sky, their thoughts lost among the constellations that sparkled like diamonds against the deep indigo canvas. Hugo, too, found himself enchanted, the tranquility of the moment wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. He looked down the shoreline where the moonlight shimmered on the water, creating a path of silver that seemed to lead to the very heart of the sea. The whispers of the tide carried with them a promise of peace, a reminder that the world continued to turn, that life ebbed and flowed just as it had for centuries. With a heart full of gratitude and a soul nourished by the love of his community, Hugo leaned back in his chair, surrendering to the serenity of the evening. The laughter of friends, the scent of the sea, the taste of a shared meal, these were the treasures of life in Eldenshore, moments to cherish amid the quiet whispers of the tide. As the lanterns flickered and the stars shone brightly overhead, the village slipped into a peaceful calm, each villager cradled by the embrace of the night, their dreams blossoming like the flowers that adorned their shores, nurtured by the gentle rhythm of the sea. And thus, the day closed softly, leaving behind the echoes of laughter and the promise of another dawn, wrapped in the warmth of togetherness, forever woven into the fabric of their lives. The Salt-Kissed Feast. A Gathering by the Shore, Chapter 3. The Salt-Kissed Feast. A gathering by the shore as the sun began its slow descent beyond the horizon, painting the sky with strokes of warm amber and soft lavender. A gentle twilight settled over the medieval fishing village of Eldermere. The air was imbued with a sense of peace, as if the world itself was taking a deep breath, preparing for the coming night. The villagers, after a long day spent on the water, began to gather along the shore, their laughter and chatter mingling with the rhythmic sounds of waves lapping against the sturdy wooden boats that bobbed contentedly in the harbor. Hugo, a young fisherman with tousled chestnut hair and bright blue eyes, stood at the edge of the dock, his heart swelling with gratitude for the simple beauty surrounding him. He had just returned from a day out at sea, where the sun had kissed his skin and the salt air had filled his lungs. The catch of the day lay cradled in his sturdy wicker basket, a bounty of shimmering silver fish, their scales catching the fading light like tiny mirrors reflecting the sunset. With careful steps, Hugo made his way toward the gathering place, a wide stretch of smooth sand where the villagers had laid out an array of colorful blankets and baskets brimming with food. The scent of salt mingled with the aromas of fresh bread, roasted vegetables, and seasoned fish wafted through the air, creating a fragrant tapestry that beckoned everyone closer. As he approached, he could hear the soft melodies of laughter interwoven with the rustle of leaves from the nearby trees and the distant calls of seagulls returning to their nests for the night. Families were settling in, their faces aglow with the warmth of companionship. Children ran about, their laughter ringing like chimes in the evening breeze, while the elders shared stories of days long past, their voices rich with nostalgia. The atmosphere was one of togetherness, a celebration of community and the fruits of their labor. Hugo set down his basket beside a weathered oak table, its surface dotted with the scars of many meals shared. His friend Alaric, a burly man with a hearty laugh and a thick beard, approached, clapping Hugo on the back with a grin. "Ah, you've brought in quite the catch today, my friend. The feast shall be splendid." Alaric's booming voice was filled with warmth, and Hugo felt a wave of camaraderie wash over him. Together, they began to prepare the catch for the evening meal. The sunlight had dimmed to a soft glow, casting a golden hue upon everything it touched. The two friends worked side by side, the gentle clinking of utensils blending harmoniously with the sound of the waves. Hugo carefully scaled the fish, his fingers deft and sure, while Alaric tended to the crackling fire pit, where flames danced eagerly, licking the air with their warmth. As the fish sizzled on the grill, releasing an irresistible aroma, other villagers joined in the preparations. Alowen, a skilled cook known for her vibrant vegetable medleys, arrived carrying a large basket filled with freshly harvested greens, bright peppers, and fragrant herbs. Her long, dark hair was tied back with a simple linen ribbon, and her cheeks were flushed with the coolness of the evening air. "Hugo, darling, you've outdone yourself today," she exclaimed, her voice melodic. "Just doing my part," Hugo replied, smiling as he handed her a few of the grilled fish. "What do you have for us?" Eloin spread a colorful quilt on the sand, arranging the vegetables in a beautiful display. "A feast fit for kings," she declared playfully, as she began to toss the vegetables with olive oil, salt, and herbs, the scents mixing beautifully with the smoky aroma of the fish. The other villagers gathered around, their faces lighting up at the sight of the colorful spread. As the banquet came together, the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows that danced across the sand. Lanterns were lit, flickering softly in the gathering dusk, their warm glow creating a cozy atmosphere that enveloped the villagers like a comforting embrace. Children settled down, their little faces illuminated by the lantern light, eyes wide with anticipation for the meal and the stories that would soon unfold. Finally, the moment arrived. The feast was ready, a bountiful display of fish, fresh vegetables, crusty bread, and sweet fruits. Hugo looked around, feeling a swell of happiness as everyone took their places at the long wooden table. Voices rose in a cheerful chorus of greetings and thanks, blending together into a beautiful symphony of community spirit. After a brief moment of reverent silence, heads bowed and hands clasped, the villagers shared their gratitude for the day's catch, the food before them, and the bonds of friendship that tethered them all. With a nod from the elder, the feast began, laughter and chatter filling the air as plates were passed, stories exchanged, and the joy of shared sustenance enveloped them all. Hugo savored each bite of the freshly grilled fish, its tender flesh flaked away effortlessly, bursting with flavor that spoke of the sea. He watched as Eloin animatedly recounted tales of the day's adventures, her hands gesturing wildly as she mimicked the movements of the fishermen battling the waves. Laughter erupted, echoing off the water, wrapping around them like a warm blanket as the sun finally dipped below the horizon, leaving behind a canvas of stars that twinkled overhead. As the meal progressed, the villagers shared not only food, but also stories of their lives' tales of love and loss, of dreams fulfilled and new beginnings. Each voice added a layer to the evening, a rich tapestry woven from shared experiences. Hugo felt a deep sense of belonging, a connection to the land, and the people who filled it with life and laughter. The night deepened around them, the moon rising high in the sky, casting a silvery glow upon the water. The stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across a velvet cloth, and the soft sounds of the sea provided a soothing backdrop to their gathering. As bowls emptied and laughter faded into the night, the villagers leaned back contentedly, their hearts and bellies full. Hugo felt a gentle peace settle over him, as if the very essence of the evening had wrapped him in a cocoon of warmth and safety. He gazed out at the shimmering water, where the moonlight danced upon the surface like 1,000 tiny fairies, and felt grateful for the simple joys of life, the camaraderie of friends, the bounty of the sea, and the beauty of the world around him. The gathering continued, now shifting to songs and storytelling, with Hugo joining in, his voice rising and falling with the melodies that floated through the night air. The sweet notes intertwined with the sound of the waves, creating a lullaby that seemed to soothe the very earth beneath them. As the evening wore on and one by one, the villagers began to feel the gentle pull of sleep, Hugo found himself lost in thought, savoring the memories of the day. He knew that these moments, filled with laughter, love, and shared meals, were what made life truly rich. The salt-kissed feast by the shore was but one of many gatherings, yet in this twilight hour, with the stars shining brightly above, it felt as if time itself had paused, allowing them to linger in the magic of community. With a contented sigh, Hugo leaned back on the blanket, his eyes drifting closed as the soft sounds of the night washed over him, laughter, waves, and the distant call of a nightbird, a serene symphony that would carry him into a peaceful slumber, wrapped in the warmth of friendship and the promise of a new day to follow. Echoes of laughter beneath the stars, Chapter 4. echoes of laughter beneath the stars as twilight descended upon the quaint fishing village of Eldermere. A warm golden hue spread over the landscape, painting the sky in soft strokes of lavender and dusky rose. The sun, a radiant orb slowly dipping below the horizon, cast a gentle glow that shimmered over the water's surface like scattered jewels. Fishermen, returning from their day's toil, guided their boats with practiced ease into the snug harbor, the wooden hulls creaking softly as they grazed against one another, a familiar symphony of sounds that echoed through the evening air. Hugo stood at the edge of the pier, his weathered hands resting on the splintered wood, feeling the gentle sway of the dock beneath him. The salty breeze caressed his face, carrying with it the scent of the sea mingled with the earthy aroma of damp earth and fading sunlight. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting the soothing sounds wash over him, the distant call of seagulls returning to their nests, the rhythmic lapping of waves against the shore, and the faint chatter of villagers beginning to gather for the evening meal. The fishermen, brawny men with sun-kissed skin and hands shaped by years of labor, began hauling their nets aboard, revealing glistening catches of silver-scaled fish that sparkled like stars plucked from the night sky. Each catch was met with a chorus of laughter and camaraderie, voices rising and falling like the tide. "Look at this beauty," one man called out, holding up a large flounder for all to see, its body shimmering with iridescent scales. The others clapped and cheered, their faces flushed with the warmth of shared joy and the promise of a bountiful feast. As the sky deepened into shades of cobalt and indigo, lanterns were lit, casting a soft, golden light that flickered like fireflies around the village. The warm glow illuminated the cobblestone paths winding through Eldermere, where families began to gather in their homes. The smell of herbs and spices wafted through open windows, teasing the senses and drawing neighbors together as they prepared to share their evening meal. Hugo ambled down the path towards the communal square, where a long wooden table had been set up beneath a sprawling oak tree, its branches heavy, with the weight of countless leaves rustling in the gentle evening breeze. The villagers, young and old alike, contributed dishes to the feast. Bowls of fragrant stew bubbled merrily in pots, while platters adorned with freshly baked bread and roasted vegetables beckoned invitingly. A sense of belonging enveloped the gathering, a unison of lives intertwined by the rhythm of the seasons and the simple joys of life. As Hugo took a seat at the table, he felt the warmth of friendship surround him. His neighbor, a jovial woman named Marin, ladled portions of rich fish stew into bowls, the steam curling upwards and mingling with the sweet aroma of garlic and thyme. "You've got to try this, Hugo," she said, her eyes sparkling with delight. "It's my grandmother's recipe, passed down through generations." The stew, thick and savory, was filled with chunks of tender fish, potatoes, and vibrant greens, each bite a tapestry of flavors that danced upon the tongue. Around the table, stories flowed as freely as the wine poured from earthen jugs. Laughter erupted like fireworks against the serene backdrop of the night, filling the air with a sense of togetherness that felt almost sacred. Children darted between the legs of adults, their giggles ringing like bells, as they chased after one another in playful abandon. The whole scene unfolded under the watchful gaze of the stars, twinkling brightly above, as if joining in the celebration of life below. The conversation turned to tales of the sea. Old legends whispered amongst fishermen about great storms and quiet nights when the ocean revealed its treasures. Hugo leaned back in his chair, letting the sound of his friends' voices wash over him, embracing the simplicity of the moment-to-moment where worries faded like mist in the morning sun, and all that mattered was the here and now. As the meal progressed, the warm glow of the lanterns flickered like the stars above, creating a magical ambience. A soft breeze played with the strands of Hugo's hair, and he took a moment to gaze up at the night sky, where constellations sparkled like diamonds scattered across velvet. The moon, a luminous crescent, hung low and brilliant, casting a silvery sheen upon the water, which shimmered like liquid glass. After the meal, the villagers gathered around a small fire pit, sparks dancing upwards into the night. Hugo settled onto a log, the warmth of the flames enveloping him. The fire crackled softly, and the aroma of burning wood mingled with the saltiness of the sea air, creating a comforting embrace. Stories continued to unfold, some recounted with exaggerated gestures and others told in hushed tones, each tale drawing listeners closer, weaving them together in a tapestry of shared history. A bard, sitting cross-legged on the ground, began to strum a lute, the notes flowing like a gentle river. The melody drifted through the night, weaving its way into the hearts of those who listened. One by one, voices joined in harmony, singing old shanties and folk songs that spoke of love, loss, and the enduring spirit of the sea. Hugo felt himself swept away by the music, his heart swelling with emotion as the melodies resonated deeply within him. The children, filled with energy and wonder, began to dance around the fire, their laughter ringing out like chimes caught in the wind. They twirled and leapt, their shadows flickering against the backdrop of the night, embodying the pure essence of joy. Hugo watched them, a smile spreading across his face as he marveled at the beauty of this simple life, where moments like these felt eternal, suspended in time beneath a canopy of stars. As the night wore on, the fire crackled softly, and one by one, villagers began to yawn, their eyelids growing heavy with the weight of contentment. The bard played a final lullaby, a gentle serenade that wrapped around everyone like a warm blanket, coaxing them gently toward slumber. Hugo felt a peaceful calm settle over him, the world around him fading into a soft blur as he surrendered to the soothing embrace of the night. In that tranquil moment, surrounded by the warmth of community, the scent of sea air, and the comforting sounds of laughter and music, Hugo closed his eyes, letting the echoes of joy and togetherness cradle him into a deep, restful sleep. The stars above glimmered, witnesses to the simple magic of a medieval evening, where friendship and love flourished, echoing through the ages like whispers carried on the wind. As the night deepened, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the nearby trees, creating a soft symphony of nature's lullaby. The flickering candlelight danced around them, casting warm shadows that seemed to weave stories of old. Nearby, a brook gurgled softly, its waters sparkling like diamonds under the moonlight. The scent of blooming wildflowers mingled with the earthy aroma of damp soil, filling the air with a tranquil perfume that enveloped Hugo in warmth and serenity. Here, in this enchanted moment, time stood still, and peace settled over the gathering like a comforting quilt. Dreams of the Deep. Nightfall in the Village, Chapter 5. Dreams of the Deep. Nightfall in the village as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden hue across the tranquil sea. The quaint fishing village of Eldermere began to transform. The vibrant colors of dusk painted the sky in soft pastels, peach, lavender, and deep indigo blending seamlessly together, as if nature itself was gently ushering the day to its close. The air was crisp, rich with the scent of salt that lingered over the water, mingling with the faint aroma of wood smoke wafting from the cottages lining the shore. Hugo, a simple fisherman known for his kind heart and gentle spirit, ambled along the cobblestone path leading to the docks. The familiar sounds of the village enveloped him, a soothing symphony of lapping waves, caressing the hulls of boats, the distant cawing of gulls settling in for the night, and the soft murmurs of families gathering for their evening meals. Each step he took was accompanied by the subtle crunch of gravel beneath his sandals, grounding him in this serene moment. The fishing boats bobbed gently on the water, their hulls reflecting the soft glow of twilight as they swayed in rhythm with the tide. Hugo paused to admire the scene before him. The fishermen were returning from a long day at sea, their weathered faces alight with the joy of a successful catch. Nets filled with glimmering fish glistened under the fading sunlight, scales shimmering like jewels, promising a feast for their families. As he approached the dock, Hugo caught sight of his friend Tom, a burly man with a hearty laugh and a penchant for storytelling. Tom waved cheerfully, his arms outstretched as he called out Hugo. "Come help me with this haul." Hugo smiled back, feeling his heart swell with warmth. There was something about the camaraderie of the village that made every challenge seem lighter. every moment shared richer. Together, they unloaded the catch, the air thick with the salty tang of the ocean. The fish flopped and wriggled as they were pulled from the nets, their scales flashing like sunlight on water. Hugo admired the beauty of their silvery bodies, and as he worked alongside Tom, he felt the pulse of life around him, the laughter of children playing nearby, the crackling of fires being lit, and the inviting aroma of freshly baked bread wafting through the air from the village's central bakery. Once the boats were emptied, the fishermen gathered on the docks, their voices mingling in a cheerful chorus. Stories flowed as freely as the tides, each tale punctuated by hearty laughter that echoed against the water. Hugo leaned against the wooden railing, catching snippets of their conversation, a recount of the day's biggest catch, a humorous mishap involving a wayward seagull, and plans for tomorrow's voyage. The atmosphere was rich with camaraderie, a tapestry of voices weaving together like the threads of a well-loved tapestry. As the last rays of sunlight disappeared, the village began to glow with the warm light of lanterns being lit. The soft, flickering flames danced in the cool evening breeze, casting playful shadows that undulated across the cobblestones. Families emerged from their homes, drawn by the magnetic pull of community and the savory scents emanating from the communal fire pit at the center of the square. Here, the villagers would gather to share the evening's meal, their hearts and bellies warmed by friendship and food. Hugo joined the throng, grateful for the simple pleasures of life. At the fire pit, large cauldrons simmered, filled with fragrant stews, bubbling over open flames. The rich aroma of herbs, fish, and root vegetables wafted through the air, mingling with the smoke and enhancing the already enchanting evening. Villagers ladled steaming portions into wooden bowls, offering them with generous smiles, and Hugo found himself savoring the moment as he accepted a bowl from a neighbor. Seated among friends, the warmth of the fire kissed his cheeks, and the rich flavors of the stew filled him with comfort. Around him, laughter erupted as children chased each other playfully, their giggles echoing like music against the backdrop of the night. The sound of spoons clinking against bowls harmonized with the gentle splash of waves, creating a soothing melody that wrapped around Hugo like a soft blanket. The sky above deepened into a velvety indigo, speckled with the first twinkling stars. Hugo gazed upward, captivated by the vastness of the night sky, where constellations danced like ancient stories written in the heavens. The moon hung low, a luminous pearl casting a silvery glow over the village, illuminating the cobblestones and the silhouettes of his fellow villagers, who seemed almost ethereal in the twilight. As they shared their meal, Hugo listened to the stories being exchanged, each tale woven with threads of laughter and wisdom. Elders spoke of the old days when the village first settled by the sea, recounting how they braved fierce storms and celebrated bountiful catches. The younger generation sat wide-eyed, absorbing the history like sponges, their imaginations ignited by the adventures of those who came before them. With every mouthful of stew, Hugo felt a deep sense of belonging. This was more than just a meal. It was a celebration of life, a reaffirmation of the bonds that held the village together. He savored the textures and flavors, the tender fish, the earthy potatoes, and the fragrant herbs that danced across his palate. Each bite was a reminder of nature's bounty, a gift from the sea that nurtured their spirits and brought them together. As the meal drew to a close, the villagers began to share songs, their voices rising in harmony, filling the night air with melodious tunes. The sweet sound floated over the water, mingling with the gentle lapping of the waves, creating a symphony that echoed throughout Eldermere. Hugo closed his eyes for a moment, allowing the music to wash over him, a soothing balm for the soul, calming and beautiful, weaving through the fabric of the night. Sitting there, surrounded by the glow of lanterns, the warmth of the fire, and the laughter of friends, Hugo felt a profound peace settle within him. The world beyond the village faded away, leaving only the essence of community, the love, the laughter, the shared experiences that knit them together like the finest fishing net. It was a moment suspended in time, where worries drifted away like clouds crossing the moonlit sky. As night deepened, the stars twinkled more brightly, and the villagers began to bid each other good night, their faces glowing with happiness. Hugo watched as families returned to their homes, their silhouettes dancing in the soft glow of lantern light. He lingered a moment longer, gazing at the serene waters, now a mirror reflecting the infinite stars above. With a contented sigh, Hugo turned toward his own cottage, the path familiar and comforting beneath his feet. As he stepped inside, he felt the lingering warmth of the evening wrap around him like a soft embrace. He set his bowl aside and settled into his chair by the hearth, the flickering flames casting a warm glow. With the sounds of the village fading into the background, he closed his eyes, letting the memories of the day wash over him. The laughter, the stories, the camaraderie had all melded into a soothing lullaby, cradling him in the gentle arms of slumber. In the quiet of his cottage, as the stars winked down from above, Hugo surrendered to the peaceful embrace of the night, dreaming of the deeper world full of wonder, adventure, and the unbreakable bonds of community. And so, under the watchful gaze of the moon and stars, the village of Eldermere settled into a tranquil night, the sounds of the sea singing softly, carrying dreams of the deep to all who rested.